Making its debut in Volume 4, Episode 6, Tipping Point, This Life Is Mine is about Weiss sending a message to her father. This song acts like a Part 3 to Weiss's previous Mirror Mirror Part 1 and Part 2 songs. Although the name is different, it still acts as a continuation to those two. As stated, much like the previous of Weiss's songs, she begins by talking to a mirror. And unlike the mirror in Snow White, in which there is a conscious spirit inside the mirror to talk to, Weiss's mirror is simply an ordinary mirror with a reflection of herself. She is not attempting to talk to someone else, she is trying to get through and talk to herself.
There's a part of me that's desperate for changes, tired of being treated like a pawn. But there's a part of me that stares back from inside the mirror, part of me that's scared I might be wrong.
Weiss has become very aware about how her father has been treating her. He's been the king, controlling all of the pieces as if he's more important than everyone else. And Weiss is tired of that, but every time she sees herself in the mirror, she begins to second guess herself. The way he treats me is wrong, what he's doing is wrong. But what if I'm wrong in thinking I can't stand up to him? She knows that she can be scared of him, but she doesn't know if she can stand up for herself. Weiss is understandably scared about abandoning her father and the company, all the money and all the benefits, and she's never had to stand on her own. She's always relied on the company, but specifically in Weiss's scenario, there comes a point where you have to have your own sense of pride and not your family's pride. We get more insight to Jacques as a character and how he tried to whittle Weiss down as much as possible, telling someone that they're nothing on their own and that they need you to survive. That statement is untrue in every scenario possible. Weiss has realized that, and now she's taking her life into her own hands.
Amazing how you conquered me, chained me in servility, and made me say the world the way you told me to. But I was young and didn't have a way to know the truth.
This is where we learn how severe Jacques' control over Weiss was. Chained me in servility. Servility is an excessive willingness to serve or please others. Jacques tried to train Weiss from a young age that all of her actions should be to appease any decision that her father would want. And when you're young, you're impressionable because you don't know any better. You don't know how the world works. You end up only knowing what you're taught, and Weiss was only taught whatever her father wanted her to know.
Born to live your legacy, existing just to fill your needs, a casualty of this so-called family that you have turned into a travesty.
Basically, what Weiss is saying is that the only reason she was born, as well as presumably Winter and Whitley, was for the sole purpose to continue this legacy that Jacques has built up for the company. All the money and property that has been accumulated, Jacques wants to make sure it goes to someone whose ideals were similar to his own, if not the exact same. Which is why he had these children in the first place. Shaped these kids into smaller versions of himself and then passed the company on. It didn't work on Winter, so he had another child. Weiss was a failure, and he had a third child, who now is the image of himself. And because of doing that, Weiss is saying, that is what ruined this family. All because Jacques wanting to mold another human being in his own image and ideals.
But I don't intend to suffer any longer. Here's where your dominion falls apart. I'm shattering the mirror that kept me split in pieces, that stood between my mind and my heart. This is where I'll start.
In this phase of the song, Weiss is really taking control of her own life. This control that Jacques used to have over her is gone now. Where Weiss always saw two sides of herself, one being her mind and the other her heart, that of which was being represented by the mirror, by saying that she's shattering the mirror, that gets rid of the two Weisses there were that were separated. Now, there is only one Weiss where both her mind and her heart have finally joined together in conjunction, both knowing and doing the right thing for herself. It's well established in RWBY that the Schnee Dust Company has a bad reputation with the public. The partners it deals with and its labor forces that it uses, once again, all thanks to Jacques. Saying she's not guilty of his crimes is true nonetheless. Because she's a Schnee, people see her as a bad person for the business practices of her fathers. It doesn't matter whether or not she agrees with it or not, people associate her with them anyway, so now she's trying to distance herself from them. She is not guilty of his crimes. Also saying she's not a pet, you can't train her. Giving her a treat when she does something good and punishing her when she does something bad does not and will not work on most people. Your riches and your influence can't hold me anymore. You could see in the show how much Weiss lent on the company for support. The money, the reputation, it was simpler for her to use those things. But that ended up being the leash that she always had on her, and Jacques was in control of it. So now she's abandoning all of that. There's nothing holding her back. She's also aware of all the tests that Jacques kept putting her through to essentially prove herself to him. Fighting the night in the white trailer, performing this exact song in front of a crowd. She's not gonna do these things anymore. She doesn't have to do these things anymore. She no longer wants to live her life to please her fathers. This is her life.
Shame that it took so long to rescue me from the guilt you used to tie me to your family tree.
We're learning that one of the ways that Jacques was guilting Weiss into staying obedient was with her family name. Practically saying, you're a Schnee, this is your company, do you want to disrespect your grandfather who founded this company by abandoning it? He was guilting her into staying around instead of giving her an actual reason to stay, like truly helping people.
I guess your training failed, you're not in charge, I'm free. Your patriarchal prison won't hold me. Now this conversation's finally over, mirror, mirror, now we're done. I pulled myself together now, my mind and heart are one. Family way.
Calling back to referring to herself as a pet and how she was trained like one, it's failed. Treating her like an animal did not make her one. It didn't work on Winter, it didn't work on Weiss, and it's destined to fail on Whitley as well. She calls him a patriarch, which is a male head of the family. She calls it a prison, implying Jacques functions under the I'm the man of the family, and because of that, you must listen to me. But for Weiss, that's not the case. She's ending this conversation that she's been having, as it were, and saying goodbye to the mirror. There's no longer two Weisses, only one. Her heart is telling her to get away from him, and her mind is saying the same. She's finally won. Then a repeat of the chorus goes on, and I don't need to explain that again. So there you have it. That was the breakdown and meaning of This Life Is Mine. I decided to do this one first because I hadn't listened to it up until a little while ago, and I've always wanted to make these types of videos for people who aren't hardcore fans and don't particularly pay attention to the lyrics. So I hope to do more of these meaning of the songs videos. If there's a song you'd like me to tell you the meaning of, be sure to let me know down in the comments. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you're interested in more content like this, follow me on all social medias, and I'll see you in the next video.